In this video, I wanted to share answers to some common questions that I've been asked about my upcoming AT Thru-Hike. The first question is, am I going to be doing this hike alone? Now, the Appalachian Trail is a very busy trail, so there's really not going to be any way I can say I'm doing this as a complete solo hike all the way alone. I think that would be kind of difficult. Plus, I don't want to be alone the whole time. I am really looking forward to meeting lots of people, and I know that I'm going to have a lot of opportunities along the way. Now, I am starting with 4 girls that I had met online. We're all planning to begin together at the approach trail, and it's going to be amazing. We're going to get an epic picture at the arch together and start off together. Now, I'm not sure how long we're going to stay together, because that, of course, will depend on different, hiking speeds, preferences, how long everybody wants to stay in towns, stuff like that. So it could be that we will just hike all the way together, the 5 of us, all the way to Katahdin. But it could be that, sometimes together, sometimes apart, or we may split up, or who knows. It's hard to say. But definitely we are starting off together, and it's going to be awesome. In addition to that, I also have 2 friends that are going to start with me that I've been on several trips with hiking before, and they're just going to come along to be supportive and give me an epic send-off, and I'm so looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing. Thank you so much, girls, for coming along with me. It's going to be the best. And no matter who I end up sticking with or not, I know there's always going to be other people around. So I think that you tend on the Appalachian Trail, everybody tends to kind of figure out who around them wants to hike at about the same kind of speed, and they end up hiking together. And there's even a word for it. They call it a tramily, trail family, tramily. So it may be that I already know my tramily and we're gonna just pick up people and have a big old group, but it could end up that I find a new tramily. But either way, I'm sure there's gonna be really awesome people around me. So I'm definitely not doing this hike alone, but on the other hand, there are times I'm sure I will be hiking alone. I hope so, because although I am an extrovert and I love to spend time with people, I'm also, the older I get, I think I'm finding that I'm also somewhat of an introvert, and I do like my alone time as well. I like a medium balance, I think. So I am looking forward to some of the times of hiking alone, and even maybe camping alone if it works out that way. Sometimes I've actually never done that before, but in the beginning I think it'll be a little difficult to do anything alone because it's going to be pretty busy, and I'm actually going to be starting at the busiest time of the year to start in Georgia. So there's actually a word for that. They call that the bubble. So the bubble is people who are hiking northbound from Georgia to Maine and are starting, I guess it's probably around February through April. Not sure what the exact definition of the bubble are, but that's when everybody's really mostly starting, February through April. So that's that whole bubble that's going up the whole trail, and I'm going to be right in the middle of it. So yeah, so if someone wanted to hike more alone, they should probably pick a different plan than northbound starting in March. So I'll be with my bubble, my couple thousand other people, or however much. So it's definitely not too much alone. Next question is, where does the Appalachian Trail start and end? Well, there's actually 2 ends, of course. It's not that one's necessarily the start and one is necessarily the end, but most people, as I mentioned, do go northbound from starting in Georgia and ending up in Maine. So my start point is going to be Amicalola Falls State Park in Georgia at the beginning of the approach trail. And there's this beautiful arch. It's going to be an amazing picture. I've only seen it in pictures that you walk through to start off the trail. And then it's 8.5 miles to get to the actual Appalachian Trail. And the actual beginning, or the actual end, that I'll be beginning at is at Springer Mountain in Georgia. And I've actually been there before, and I have a picture of that in my first video, my channel introduction video of me at that place. It's a little bit anticlimactic when you get there. It's just that plaque on a rock, and there's a pretty view and stuff, but it's just kind of like anywhere on any trail to me, besides that plaque. But at the beginning of the approach trail is this great arch, and the visitor center I'll get to check into beforehand and everything. So anyways, that's the start. And then the end is in Maine at Mount Katahdin, and which is apparently the hardest climb on the AT, right at the end. And there's this really cool sign at the top of this mountain, and I am going to have a picture there, and that is going to be one of the best moments of my life, I think, at Katahdin. Next question that people commonly ask is, how long is the Appalachian Trail? So the official Appalachian Trail is about 2190 miles, 2,190 miles, plus there's that 8.5 mile approach trail, so about 2,200 miles. Georgia to Maine, 2,200 miles. Now, something that people normally don't mention when they're talking about the length of the Appalachian Trail is that there's another trail that's connected to it called the International Appalachian Trail, which actually goes to the end that I'm going to be stopping at, Maine. It starts from there and goes all the way into Canada for 1,900 miles. So I'm not doing that part this time, but it's actually something I might like to do one day. But for now, I'm stopping in Maine. The International Appalachian Trail actually does continue on. How long does it take, and when will you start? According to the Appalachian Trail Conservatory, it takes about 5 to 7 months to hike the Appalachian Trail on average. Of course, some people go much faster. I imagine some people go much slower, but I am hoping that I might end up right in the middle at about 6 months. I think that would be a good middle ground for me. Right now, I would consider myself a really slow hiker compared to other hikers who are more in shape than me, for sure. I'm usually, when I hike with my group of friends, I'm usually in the back or towards the back, and people are beating me doing like 15 or more miles easily, right off the airplane, right out of the gate, but that's not me. But I'm hoping that as I, hike the trail every day and get what they call trail legs, which is just, kind of getting into the groove of the hiking and building up the muscles that are needed and everything, I'm hoping that I'll be able to kind of keep up with at least the average hiker, at least in mileage per day. And I will be starting towards the end of March. And so and I'm hoping somehow to maybe get done by early September. How many miles will you hike per day, and what will be your average number of miles? To start out, I am planning to start with 8 miles per day. I know that I can comfortably hike 10 and maybe more, force myself to hike 12 or more, just right out of the gate without any kind of warming up to it or waiting for trail legs or anything. But that's not sustainable for me to just start off with that many high miles. So I'm definitely going to start with 8. I think that would be good until I start getting in shape. And then I'm just going to gradually increase with however much I feel comfortable with. I think it's going to be really important for me to listen to my body on this, which is going to be a little bit of a change for me because I'm actually used to pushing really hard through any wall, just push until I get where I want to be. And that's great for a little section hike when you're trying to keep up with a group, but when you are trying to hike 2,200 miles, that's not good because that causes injuries. So starting with 8, but I am hoping to average around 25 per day, especially once I get in shape and once I am in the middle of the trail where it's a little bit easier than in other places. I would like to even maybe do 30 at some point. We'll see. 25 will be truly amazing to me since my current max is about 15 and a half. But I did have a friend look this up for me when we were talking about it one time. And in order to finish in 6 months, I would have to hike an average of 12 miles per day. That is pretty exciting. I can do 12 miles now. After I get in shape, it'll be a lot better, a lot more, of course. So, and that's an average. So that doesn't mean only 12 miles per day, because then I'd have to hike every day and couldn't take any days off. And I definitely am going to need to take some days off in town. I'm going to have some 0 days and some high miles. So as long as it averages at 12 miles per day, I'll make it in 6 months. According to some questions and answers posted on Quora.com, and I have no idea if that's how you really say it or not, but most hikers can hike average about 3 to 4 miles per hour, and they can average about 24 miles per day. So that's about in line with what I'm hoping to do. What are you doing for training? I've heard it said that the only way that you can truly train for a thru hike is to go on a thru hike. So that's what I'm doing. Just kidding. So I've been on a lot of hikes before, and during the fall, I got out there quite a bit, kind of every other weekend, it seemed like, for a while, which was really awesome, and I was loving it. But then the holidays came, and then January came, and then all the busyness of getting ready to get on the trail came, and I have not been out there. Thanksgiving, I think, was my last big trip. And I went on a little hike in December, I think, but that doesn't even count. It's like 5 miles. I did discuss with a friend the idea of doing some training hikes and going out to this local trail that has some good elevation changes, and it's only about 2 hours away, and doing some just like 12 mile days, like 12 miles out and then back the next day or something like that. But no time. There was no time for that. So that's a lovely idea, but it didn't happen. Also, I had a lovely idea of filling one of my backpacks up with like water or books or something and hiking up and down this steep hill that's just a few streets over, which probably would have been really good training, but maybe I can fit 1 or 2 walks up and down that hill in there, but I'm just kind of overwhelmed with everything else. So basically, nothing. I'm doing nothing. But that's why I'm starting out 8 miles a day. So that's really going to be my training. Why train anywhere else, right? How often will I take days off to rest? So that's a little hard to, say for sure. I think that it's going to just kind of go whenever I feel like I need to, I will. And also, it'll matter, of course, where the towns are. So depending on, when the next town is, when the next time I need resupply is, will be, when I take a day off to rest. But honestly, I mean, just right now, just out of the blue, without, having started this yet, I imagine I probably want to do like 1 day a week of downtime, of a Nero or a 0 to rest, but who knows how it's really going to pan out. So we'll just see how it works. Will you take a gun?